No, sorry. Hi, everyone. Hi, and welcome. Sorry, I'm a couple of minutes late. Uh, I'm here. Just I'm kind of here, but I'm more, I'm more here than I have been. I tell you. Um, so yeah, I have a lot to report, and whether I will manage it or not, I don't know. But I'll do my best. So I'm back from Vanuatu. I feel like I've been to the end of the universe and back. It wasn't exactly the holiday that either of us anticipated it being. I went with my good friend Polly, who I have done a few sort of travel adventures with. And so, hi, sweet Cece. Hi, Charlotte. Hi, Anna. Hi, Billy. Hi, Andrea. Um, oh, yeah, I got a bit of a tan. I tan like that. And it rained. So, so it was very interesting. We had this idea that we were going to just go there and laze around on the beach and swim and yeah, maybe read. And we got there, and first of all, it rained. So it rained and was overcast for the first maybe 4 days that we were there. And then on the fifth day, the sun came out. I had a dress on. We went down to the markets because all we did really was walk around. And so we went down to the markets because both of us are great fruit eaters. And we had this total misconception about Vanuatu being a place that would have lots of fruit. So we thought, oh, we'll go and look properly. We'll go and look properly at the food markets. And no. So, yeah, I mean, they are on the back of a recovery from a cyclone. And so we actually did a lot of work around that. Anyway, yeah, so I spent, and I won't, go into all the details of it because it'll sort of come out, but most days I spent a time having a nap, like an old nana, and I was just whacked. So there was that. I realised I was burnt out. That's another thing. I was totally doolally. I was lucky to put my left foot in front of the right. And yeah, so in that kind of burnt out space and starting to come right. But obviously, we were sent there not for a holiday. So yeah, we met beautiful people. The people from Vanuatu are called Narvans, and they have the best smiles. They really do, and a lot of their island has been continually kind of devastated, wiped out through cyclonic weather. And so we spent 5 days, I think, in Port Vila, which is their main city. And then we spent 5 days further around the coast at a beach called Coco Beach. And when we got there, the water was just full of coral. So they were still, well, it had been stormy. So the water had no clarity. It was just full of bits of crumbly coral, and the beach was just covered in coral. It was unbelievable. So we didn't even get in the water until the last few days, where it started to clear and started to settle. And then, yeah, it was beautiful. So we had the last 3 days there at that beach where we could be in and out of the ocean. And otherwise, it was in and out of the pool. But I am feeling pretty good and relaxed now, and I've been laughing really because You know, we are so on the edges and in the beginnings of, really. We are in the beginnings of our new earth, in our new world, in our new frequencies, in our new resonance. I think we are, where are we now? We're in like day 4 or day 5 of that. And I've been tossing back a lot of lemon water. I still have a blocked ear. It's quite tender. I think that's to do with ascension. We'll see. But yeah, this whole ear, nose, throat thing, lots of people dealing with that, with sort of with runny eyes, with painful ears. And so I've never had an ear infection that I can recall. And so I don't know if this is it or if it's kind of has elements of what someone told me was sinusitis or sinusitis. I'm not claiming I have any of that, but yeah, it's just my right ear, which I've been putting some colloidal silver, a little drop of colloidal silver in. I believe it's to do with expansion, and I may be wrong, but it's getting better. So here we are on the 8th of September, you know, experiencing our new world, our Lemuria reborn, if you like. So we went to Vanuatu believing that we were going on a nice tropical island holiday. And a lot of poverty in Vanuatu. I cried. I cried a lot. I cried a lot when I saw, you know, that it's warm there. It's very warm. And a lot of them live in basically like a canopied hut or a roof shelter with no walls, and probably it's okay a lot of the time, but they have, you know, been suffering these cyclonic conditions and a lot of flooding, and a lot of their crops have been wiped out, and so they are they told me that our taxes fund them, that New Zealand sends them a lot of money. The Chinese are and have bought up a lot of land there, and so that's problematic as far as I can see. And so they've now passed legislation to prevent more of that happening. The Australian export a lot of food to there. So very surprising, you know. So coconut, yes, when that's in season, that's a big food crop. Taro, and yeah, a lot of their, well, you know, their seasonal tropical fruits. It's not the season for that yet. So yeah, when you move out of when we moved from the city out to the more remote areas, it's very shanty type housing for many of them, and they work for next to nothing. So their currency is Vanuatu, and I think roughly 70 to 75 cents Australian, New Zealand, US. You could just roughly do it that way to 1 Vanuatu at the moment, and it's not exact, but you get an idea. And they earn about 3 Vanuatu an hour. That's what most of the workers there earn. So yeah, it's very subsistence level. There's a lot of unemployment. There's no coercion to be employed either. That's part of their culture. But, you know, one of the women that I spent some time talking to, she's this incredible young woman. and she works in a resort, and she supports 12 people in her family. Anyway, that's just a little bit of background, but yeah, I spent a lot of time on my back and out of body. So I will give you, let's see, maybe just this month, that will be the best, I think. So I'll just start and let you know, and then I'll whiz through and I'll tell you what's come. Thank you, Alive Thrive. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, talofa lava. Talofa lava, Caroline. Hello, Caroline. And I know I go brown. I really easily. I actually was only in the sun one day because I got burned, and so then I needed to be out of the sun until that healed. Clearing of mucus, yes, I think so. It's through the ear, nose, and throat, and through the backs of the eyes, but it's to do with the upgrades in that area, is my understanding. All right, so on the first, so I've been in Vanuatu for a few days. I think we left on the 27th. I'll just see if there's anything here. Let me go back. Oh, I will. Sorry. I was showing how there were these lights coming in that were holding the emerald codes and the sapphire codes, and they were coming in forming a Y. So one, the other, and then this stick down here was holding plasma light and clear quartz. That we were receiving the fire codes. So everything has been coming through the water, including the fire codes. So the water in our bodies, the water in the air, the water in the water, the water in the ground, the water in the plants. And so this was bringing in new colours and codes. The fire codes and letters are the new creation codes for transmutation, for upgrading, and transmigration for ascension. So that's what I was told then. And we, on the 29th, we are amid it. The codes are upgrading DNA and bringing gifts and knowledge and expertise for growth and development for our new Earth and our new human species, and the collective for 12 strands of DNA upgrade back to our original genetic codes. And so this has been our experience as we come into the Christed body or the Christos body, and especially to do with our pineal gland and our blood. So I was shown that the fire codes were being carried by the water molecules. And so if you've read the posts, I wrote some little bits about all of these things, but didn't have good coverage most of the time. So on the 30th, I got shown that the Lightworker Collective had been called to battle overnight. That's happened only a few times. That we'd gone to hand-to-hand combat, and one of the aspects of this battle was to remove the ties, the cords, and the attachments from the underground, from the darkness, from the subterranean. They were behaving like tentacles. They looked like big tree roots, and that was what was holding us down from our ascension, was that there were lots of these kind of suckers and tentacles and cords. And Gaia said that on that day we would release from that, and we would move the planet a little bit further into higher ground, into higher territory, into the ethers. and we were receiving a lot of crown activation on that day. And you might remember, I wrote, remember who you are, where you come from and why you are here. We are fully immersed in the with this oxymoron of we've got to get out of this place, but it's out of that frequency, it's out of the lower, it's out of what's holding us down and back. And we've got to leave this darkness behind. It's, you know, that's the aspect of it, really. It's, you know, leave it for dead, leave it in the dust, leave it in the lower to move into the higher. That's all we have to do, is rise above it. And the analogy came through is that we'll shake it off the back like fleas off the back of an animal as the vibration gets higher. And I was showing this vector available over the next few days for us for that, which was the advantage that was being taken, and that this was one way we could assist planetary ascension. So many of you may have been having experiences of feeling that you were out and about in the night, having to be in your warrior self. We got shown lots of divine masculines that night as well, that relate to some of you and that relate to others I know. And there was this definite overview. That's what, in the general synopsis, the divine masculine were having this big picture look at what was going on in the world and what they were required to do, what the divine feminine was required to do, and about what they needed to do next and attend to next for their partnership. And they were really being pulled in their hearts. I could feel that. And it's a really old song. It's from my dad's era. That song of any day now, any day now, anyway now. If you can remember any more of it than that. Well, that's the song that came through. And then on the following day, there was this huge pyramid of white light that showed up, and it became this Taurus. So Gaia showed me her and me and Polly sitting in this triangulation, and that we were forming this new crystalline white Taurus that was coming in behind us. And that, so this would have been, many of you would have been in triangulation during that day. That's what I was showing. It was the 30th, and creating the new, beginning to build a new formulation, if you like, that was connected to both the stars and to the planets and pulling into Earth. So it was the beginning of grounding in this new. And the dragons, they were activating both on the inner and the outer. So quite a lot of work being done with the ley lines. While we were away, I was watching them kind of undulating, crossing over. There was some merging going on. There was also some clearing the timeline so that we could go higher. It's been this ongoing kind of hassle. Yeah, so there was this connection to the planet, connection to the stars, and this pulling more of the higher down here so we could rise up. And yeah, the dragons, they were activating both the inner earth and the outer earth. So the ley lines that are internal to the planet, and the vectors or the ley lines on the external as well. And they were forming a new sacred net, which was an odd shape. But if you imagine all the dragons with their wings spread out and the negative space between. Okay, so imagine the entire planet covered in dragons with their with their wingtips touching. And the shape that they were forming in the negative space was like a triangle heart, but it wasn't a heart, but it was actually a triangle with these two kind of shapes like humps on the top, and that was the negative space between all the wings. And Gaia, oh, so me and my twin, we were sent off. We were like sent off like we were balancing a yacht. So the guy was sending us over there to shift the weight, and then up to the front, and then down the back, and we were constantly in motion with Gaia in the center of the earth, keeping the balance or shifting the weight, if you like. And it was like the counterbalancing, and the dragons were holding that activation net or that new sacred geometry. Hi Sarah, thank you. Yeah, it's good to be back. Yeah, so lots of you having these sinus infections going on, and I can't tell you the ins and outs of it, but it is to do with these upgrades of our systems. Yeah, and we were doing this dimensional shift between the 5th and the 7th and back, and then to the 9th and back to the 7th, and up and down through the 5th, 7th, 9th, and 11th. And on that day, so we're doing all this merging with the frequencies, and I can tell you, I was told that many light workers and many divine counterparts have been doing that work, traversing what Gaia called traversing the dimensional timelines, traversing the dimensional corridors. I mean, these are just different words for the same things. To shift and clear for the planet. So we've been working our little butts off, all of us, to move so that the planet can make more movement. And it's dimensional movement, and it's also like vector movement through space. Oh yeah, and I got shown that we were going to have this beautiful coral light coming in the dawn. And I didn't see it. I mean, I was showing that we were going to see it physically, but was just cloud cover where we were. But what I was showing is that it's like this cloth came in of this coral color. The coral color always takes me to Grandmother Anna, the Divine Mother, that color. That's the internal. That's the color of the internal ceiling in the main temple room of the Divine Feminine Christ. And it was showing up like, it's interesting, like if you think of a cloth that was apricot in colour, and we were just picking up the edges of it, and it's like the planet was kind of sliding over into this new dimension. And then we moved further around the island. We'd had some sun, and it was very calm, felt very calm and settled. And the birds. So it was full moon, right? We had a full moon last month on the first day and on the last day. And I tell you what, these birds just sang all night. Just like Lionel Richie, who sings that song all night long. They did not stop. And, we have a pretty decent bird life here in New Zealand. And this was way in excess of that. And there's a bird there, and we decided it sounded like a monkey. It had this kind of little chatter kind of sound, and there was a bird that sounded like a person whistling. They were very noisy, and we didn't get any sleep at all that night. And oh yeah, and so I got shown that the Divine Masculine I got shown the divine masculine were really sitting ready. So they were very relaxed. They were naked and vulnerable, and they were sitting on the tops of on banks of grass, basically. And they were nonchalant, they were knowing, and they were sitting in the position of awaiting a signal. Um, yeah, as though they were not quite ready or not quite in alignment, but that the collective, was waiting. And I was showing that the full moon illuminates what is left to be seen, the residue of the shadow, and what needs to be released. And also that this may well have been relating back to the ancient Lemurian times, the old past, the old negative, the old ancient, and you may have been finding new levels of old behaviours coming up to be attended to. You may have been behaving badly, having tantrums, throwing a bit of a temper fit, and that it was more opportunity to drop and release anything in order to open the heart wider. So, the wider we go, the more we can release, the higher we go, the deeper we can go. And certainly there was a day more recently in this month where that was the exact configuration. So on the 2nd, we were going into deep clearing, cleansing, and release occurring as we were leaving our old world behind. And that may have been for you coming with a lot of tears. It was for me. And that's what I recognized. I am releasing the old, and it comes with tears. And the advice was to keep seeking balance and to keep bringing yourself into equilibrium frequently on that day, because we're being tipped, and then things would come up and we could release them and then bring ourselves back into balance. Lots and lots and lots of process. And to be using good and clear affirmations about who you are and that everything is unfolding perfectly, and to be engaging with your higher self for guidance. So these light codes on that day, on the 2nd, were streaming in, and they carried huge intensity, an intensity that I was showing that we've never experienced before. So that's the 2nd of September, that's 6 days ago. Creating sensations in the head that may feel slightly electrical, antenna-like. And honestly, I was sitting there and it was like, those wire, whatever they're called, comb things or whatever. They're a little massage device. And when you put them on and your whole head goes, well, it was like that. It was like that was the energy that was coming into my head. It was very strange. And this was humanity being in continual upgrade of information and data. And so that was the sensation of feeling it coming in. And then we would go through more assimilation, more integration, and coming into this new upgraded version of us as a species that is both new and unfamiliar. All right, let's see what else is here. Hi, Lauren. Sinus infection, massive clearing of mucus still ongoing. Yep. I'm sure that many people will be having that experience, Sarah. Andrew's saying she can move like flash on ley lines to the galactic. We've got to meet Andromeda future self. Oh, wow. Oh, I hope you'll write some of that for us. Shoulder blades in both arms aching and off, so we're getting ready to lift off. Yeah, and the shoulder blades, to me, they're all about wing activation. It's your DNA coding of Hello, hello. Remember when you were an angel? Hello, hello. Remember when you were a bird person? Hello, hello. Remember when you were a fairy? Remember when you were a fae? It's all of the reminders of the DNA activation of the codings of when you were a being with wings. That's how it shows up to me. Doing the mahi, I might have already read that from Fiona. Mahi is Māori for work, if that's not familiar to you. Makes sense why it's always been one of my favourite colours alongside of rose gold and copper. Oh, you're talking about that coral colour. Huge higher heart expansions again last night. Yeah, and so this is all really affecting the divine masculine. This is there. I cannot ignore that any longer. No, 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 no. I can only see the truth, you know. The night, the second, I had to keep clearing my heart all night. It was intense. Oh, wow. Yeah. Did anyone notice the recent full moon pulsing? No, but it doesn't surprise me because my word, it was sending us lots of codes, and I'm pleased that you got to see it. I have been under the cover of cloud. Even had anxiety for a short time last night with faith. I found out recently that's an origin of my name. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, well, you know, you have this incredible connection with nature. Andrea noticed it, great. Alrighty, so now I want to tell you that the message that came through to you was rest. You are doing big work. Oh, well, this was the message that came through to me. Sorry. Rest. You are doing big work in the waters. It's all I could do a lot of the time was rest. The crystalline water in the ethers, the preparatory level of heaven on earth. So that was that day, and I think I honestly I was just lucky that I had Polly to help me at times because I was just useless. And I got shown that we were doing this activation on the vector between, and I didn't know where these were, from Vanuatu to the Seychelles. So the Seychelles, I had to go and look that up, they sit above Madagascar, which is off the coast of Africa. And it's almost a horizontal line. It cuts across the top tip of Australia from Vanuatu across to there. So that's what I was showing we were doing. That we were activating that vector with these new codes. In the night, oh yeah, and whilst holding space for that, honestly, it was incredible. I was out in the ethers and I was so held. So my beloved was there, my father was there, my ex-husband was there, my son was there, some of the men in my family, they were there, some of my friends, male friends. I don't know how many there were, but there were a lot, and they were all holding me. It was so beautiful. It really was. I felt so touched in my heart that all these beautiful men from my life in this lifetime came to hold space for me while I was doing that. And then we're up to the 3rd. So the 3rd of September. And that was a 10-day in numerology, 3 plus 9 plus 7 for the year. And I asked what I've been doing. And I got told changing the density, the frequency of these lands, the lifting up from beneath and transmuting through has been your process, and it has been difficult at times, and it certainly didn't feel like a holiday for most of it. I got oh yeah, I had a day of rest. And then there was the day of rest. And then we'd taken crystals. So we'd taken a big handful of quartz of oh, okay. So Fiona is saying that they, where she was, which is here, that they were linking Aotearoa and Hawaii over the full moon. Perfect. Oh, wonderful. So I was told that, you know, many light workers were doing this similar work around the world. I have written that somewhere. So we programmed the crystals under guidance to be in continual flow of clearing and cleansing and up-leveling the frequency in the waters, which will then impact the water cycle of that region. And that today we're in closings and closures and endings of the old, so we can commence the new proper. So these were the first 3 days of September. We were closing things out. New sounds were going to be coming in after that. New sounds, new signals, new codes and tones. Magnetic and magical is the other 2 words that came, and like fairy dust, Gaia said. So the birds, they were creating this discordant. Honestly, they were like, it was like being in a bird, you know, in a birdhouse. Well, here in our Auckland Zoo, we have a birdhouse that's netted. It's quite massive. So you walk in through a gate and then you're in this enclosure with all the birds. And it's super noisy in there. And it was like that. So it's like Gaia said, it's like a sharpness against our softness to enable us to receive and assimilate the new codes. It's like it was showing up as though, well, in this way, the timelines were being snipped and they were being rearranged. That was one of the things that was happening, like they were snipped up into lines and being rearranged. And then it's like the birds were like cutting through the softness, or making this sharpness of contrast to help us receive the new in. The sound codes are coming into the ears. These are still the sounds of creation, and for our new earth, and they are affecting both our auric field and our audio. And so that was the beginning of it for me, and it hasn't ended yet. And the auric field of our planetary body, our new planetary body. I was shown like a spiral of lights, if you like. You think about a spiral and all the nodes on it are little like LED lights. That's what I was shown was part of our upgrade. And then on the 4th, new, breathe them in quietly, softly, gently, smell them, taste them, feel them, and then dream up and view the new, is what I was told. Welcome to the new world. And that song, that I did discover the name of. Do you remember Charlotte or Anna? I'll just look. I'll look on here and I'll tell you. I should have posted it. It's kind of, to me, I don't know whether it's dubstep or sort of punk, not heavy punk. Right. Do you remember? Oh, hold on. I need to flip out of here into a new messenger and change it over. So some pretty interesting, radioactive. If you look that up, that's what came through for the Divine Masculine. Thank you. Yeah, so that's the song that came through for the Divine Masculine, Radioactive. Look it up. And then there's been some others, if I might remember them. So during this month, we are experiencing, as you will have already noticed, all of the elements, right? The fire, the water, the air, the ethers, and the earth. And so it's all being recalibrated, shaken up, rearranged. And we're experiencing this through floods and rain and cyclones and through earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. I think that I saw that there were 61 volcanoes erupting at some level last week. So the timelines have been way stretched. That's what I was showing on the 5th. They're fluxing and flexing. So it was this undulation happening. They were crossing over one another. This is the work that the light workers were doing, is merging the frequencies to pull more people up, to assist. So a lot of the time we've been told, leave them, let them do their own thing, and that's been because everyone has to do their process. And right now we've done this on a collective level. We've been shifting and fluxing and moving the timelines to reset them to the original, to get rid of the intrusions. We are transcending time and space with our frequency increases and upgrades as we move into the 5th dimension. And then on the 5th, many of you may be slipping in and out of dimensional frequencies, and that's why. So you may have multi-dimensional aspects that have split and fragmented off to do work at this time on behalf of your own growth, development, and ascension, or to assist the collective and the planet. You may feel that you are present in some way and yet not in others. Remember the analogy that Gaia gave us, that we were taking a sieve and diving into the depths of the shadow and the muck and clearing out the debris. So we've been doing that in this up and down, clearing and cleansing, and many have been performing these duties to assist the collective and the planet. Lots of flying ants emerging from multiple different areas around the back garden. Yeah, so the ants, they go, the queen goes on wing, and that's when they're relocating their nest. And the ants have their own incredible coding communication system, but because, and I agree that they're great signalers to us. But what I also know is that a lot of their nests will have been flooded out. Here in New Zealand, here in Auckland, that's the case. Their underground nests have been flooded out with this incredible ridiculousness of rain. All right, where am I up to here? Right, my personal experience, I wrote on this day, has been that I have been unaware and challenged to discern. This is pretty interesting, actually. I'd be interested whether it was just me that it was this doolally. Was that a thought? Did I say that out loud, or was that my inside voice? Now, I know that I did this because I know that I was a terrible communicator during a few days before we came home. And I said things. So some things I said twice. Some things I didn't say at all, but thought that I had. So this was my query to self. Did I speak that out loud, or was that an internal voice? On this recent trip, I did not know the answer to that, and yet did not know the question until I had a conversation and said to Polly, did I say that to you? And she said no. And yet I was sure that I had said it twice. I thought I was saying it a second time, and I was just checking that I wasn't repeating myself, and I hadn't said it at all. And also, apparently, I missed hearing a lot of information. Um, so then I tuned in with Gaia and I said, well, what's this about? And she said I had been trilocated. Like, this sounds massive, and I tell you what, it felt massive. I was trilocated out of body to bring balance and triangulation between Venus, Mars, and Earth. And that's one of the reasons why I had to keep lying down. So I had difficulty balancing my inner ear, left and right, my nose, and I was really doolally, like really doolally. I had very little energy and very little cognitive function ability, honestly. No memory of what was even said to me. So, like, Polly said, well, we're going to be picked up here at 10:30. And I knew that she told me something. And I heard her say that, and I went, oh, yes. And 2 minutes later, I said to her, tell me what it is you just said to me, because it had just gone in and out. So, yeah, so that was my experience. I don't think I've totally lost the plot. I do know that I was burnt out, but this is towards the end of the trip. I do know that I was doing that big work. And then I got shown that the divine masculines are doing this undoing in the physical. So they are undoing, they're in the planning of this gentle, integrous way of moving and undoing what is happening in their own lives with their own connections and families and or existing partners and children. So I was shown that what was happening on a lot of levels was this idea of it being like a business handover. So you know how if you know anybody, if you who's had a small business and they've handed over to new owners, but often they spend a few days working alongside them to assist them with the new systems and procedures, and then at least they've got the rudimentary aspects of the business into some form of knowing. And I was showing well, this was what day? This was the 5th, okay. So I was showing that that's the sort of phase we're in on our earth, or were. So it's like the old is closing off as the new comes in. And there's a time when we're operating both alongside one another, or a version of both, the 3D and the 5D. And so this is our new earth, our new world, our new frequency. And Guy said it's like a soft rollout kind of handover. Oh yeah, and so I was just in here. I wrote about the vector, that it's an arc across the bight or the top region of Australia, from Vanuatu to Seychelles, which is north of Madagascar, off the coast of Africa, and it's 12,000 kilometres from Vanuatu to there. That's the vector that we were affecting. It's just on the southern side of the equator. So many small, and so you'll know, if you, maybe you will, if it was you, many small and large groups are working together in most countries of the world to clear and balance and hold space for the up-leveling of frequency, to bring some stabilizing energy to the masses. Many who are experiencing kind of huge peaks and troughs because they're being dragged up. Well, that sounds mean. They're being elevated to higher frequencies, and it's really hard being there. So a lot of you will be helping hold them, bringing them into balance, and then they'll plunge down again, because remember, that's kind of what we did when we were in our awakening, and we did it over a longer period of time. So very high frequencies affecting eyes and ears and the physical and energetic, affecting sinus and brain and throat and neck and shoulder blades and the heart, and a lot of pressure in the head as this is all upgraded. A lot of digestion issues may be coming up for you as we are learning to assimilate this new, and it digests. We digest it. Our body physically digests these new codes, and we are also in the detoxing of the old, so it's quite massive. As our old world, our old life, our old energies leave, welcome to the new world. Welcome to the new world. So that is radioactive. Go and listen to it. And then we're up to the 6th. And the 6th was a 22 Master Day. And I got shown that the energy on that day, that you could read it as a double-ended arrow, a vertical arrow with an arrowhead on the top and an arrowhead on the bottom, and that this showed up today as the pattern, and it was movement in both directions. So for everyone being stretched into the higher and into the lower, into the darker and into the lighter, deeper and higher, and also to become more and more deeply grounded here in order to reach more heavenward. We are in ascension. You may be feeling super sensitive, and just ask, what is that? Why am I sensitive? What's coming up here? What do I need to do? As the world begins, see, I feel all emotional about this. As the world begins to fragment and fall apart in the eyes of more and of many, who will catch it? No one. No one will catch it. It needs to fall. Let it fall. Hold yourself and one another. Be reassured it will be fine. It will be magnificent. We may not yet see how, but that is not our role. Our role is to hold on with deepest trust and knowing that all is perfect, and to be in curiosity of the divine and how it will manifest in the highest. Ask that. How will this manifest in the highest, in my highest, in the highest of everyone who I'm connected to, in the highest of the planet, in the highest of humanity, the highest love and joy and momentum? And I want to say to you to visualize yourself sitting in the lotus position, feeling love in your heart, and then let this love iato shakana iato eati ishakana a arakata ishana ishishana. Let this love move through your body. Atia 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 shishana. And then allow it to fill every cell. Ishakana tiana atapata. Ishato akanana oishanara itiana. And then down, down, down through your body, and emanate it out across the planet. Ishapo atakana iatishana atiara kana shishitanana etiara atiara akana shi ata a oya etiakana shati. and let it ripple through the dimensional fields. Ishatakana iato atakana shishiana. Dissolving all that isn't love. Itia patakanashi. Ea, 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 shishiana. Rippling through the cosmos. Eka tapatakana shishia toana. Etia, 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 shishiana. Ha. So I want to just reference a session I've done recently where I've been tuning into this person's partner and seeing where he was in terms of his shift, in terms of his ascension. And it looked like he was going to have like an emotional awakening when he holds their baby and their little girl. And yesterday, I have to tell you, this baby is due in 3 weeks' time. And yesterday I was showing that he awakens before then. So I was showing he has, we all do this differently, but I was showing he has both a mental and an emotional awakening before this child arrives. This child is, I can tell you, this child is very aware, and that I spoke to the soul of this child before it came into the body. And I want to tell you that I'll just read this. I was showing he unfolds into his awakening, and that this links to the general awakening of the masculine. So this visual metaphor was of him sitting on the ground with the soles of his feet touching and his knees out, and he was bent over like a very flexible yoga person. And I watched him unfurl and rise up, and it was him receiving himself. He was receiving his own awakening, his own opening, being in consciousness. And so initially I'd seen that he awakened when he held his daughter. And then yesterday I saw that he is going to awaken before that. So it's just interesting kind of timing, that's all. So that child is due in a few weeks' time. And her mother and I have always felt she comes early. So we are beginning to speak in new language now. So I bet that lots of you, hi Carla, I bet that lots of you are perhaps having experiences of like, no, to a greater extent, probably to a greater extent. I think probably many of us have had these experiences for a long time, but of not being understood, of not being heard, of not being seen. And it's because you are now speaking in a new and higher frequency, and it's like code. So I'll read what I got. We are beginning to speak in a new language that is code, resonance, and frequency based, which is a bit like speaking French to someone who only speaks sign language. So I don't know if you're having that experience, but that's what came through maybe yesterday. Today is maybe, I'm not sure. Is it Friday? Yes. So that was what came through yesterday. And then I want to tell you that the truths cannot be ignored any longer by the divine masculine. It's ignore the truths. No, 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 no. It is now impossible, Gaia. You know, she's spoken about this for a while, but she's now saying it is impossible now to resist the proof, the truth. Um, there is this multi-dimensional realization and transcendence occurring on the planet, and many are asking, who am I? What is my purpose, my passion? How do I come into my own sovereignty? How do I reveal this to myself? And I am showing Lemurian goddesses writing the timelines, as and the timelines are behaving as serpents, as snakes, and putting them back into their correct placement. And so this all links to our need to be back, our need to be in our alignment, our original divine plan blueprints through everything. And this may well be the last little part of the preparation. So yeah, let me just find this. Hold on. This welcome to the new world. And then I've just got that we're in preparation for union. I'll just read this post I put out a day ago. Welcome to our new world and to ascension. We continue to detox and purify on all levels. Remember that. This is part of our process. We also continue to experience very high frequencies. These may affect our eyes, ears, and throat, as well as neck and shoulders. I've already read that. That's okay. So, last thing, divine counterparts are mainly in their own individual calibration at the moment, separately balancing, calibrating, and unifying. But you're really on the end of that. And then we're coming into swinging, which is an interesting term. But the reason is because this is how it shows up. It shows up, if you think of a ring here and two ropes, and one is the divine, or wires is more correct. One is the divine feminine. Blah, 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 blah. One is the divine feminine and a wire coming off, and the divine masculine. And they are separately balancing, calibrating, unifying, and then they're coming into this swinging. So if you imagine that, okay, it's sitting there, it's like this, and they are going to start swinging in and out, and in and out, swinging together. And as they come together, it's a test, it's a check, it's a check on the frequency and harmonics of one another. And this swing arc will reduce over this month. So it might be out here and then come in and out, and it'll get closer and closer and closer until it has no swing away. And this is the preparation for union. So I don't know. Is that the spring and the autumn equinox? Is that when that happens? That's a possibility. Sometime, I want to say, between then and the end of the month. This preparation for union. And let's see what's here on the chat. That's it for me, except I want to say to you, if you haven't yet gone to dub.gpms.world and signed up to the Global People's Monetary System, which is orchestrated through Rick Dewars and Lee Mudgeway from the UK, and this is a system. Rick Dewars, he speaks directly to the Father, and he is a walk-in of the Christed, and this is the system that Father God has given him to bring to the world. So you just enroll, that's all, doesn't cost anything, and he is waiting for the tipping point for this to be able to claim the funding for the world. But go there and you can read the introduction. It's about a one page about what it is. Feel it for yourself, and go and do that. Equinox is perfect balance time. Okay, wonderful. And Lauren, 2 week. Oh, let me see. Venus rebirth. Friday is Venus Day. Hold on. Which Friday, Fiona? Remember, you're talking to the person who's not very present. Oh, hold on. I'll just see if I can drag that up. So, Venus rebirth. Friday is Venus Day. Is that next Friday then? What's next Friday? Ah, okay. I've got no idea. Is it the 20? Is Venus Day the 22nd or the 29th? Right, clear all that. Got all these notifications now that I can't get rid of. Go away. Come back to here, see if that works. Okay. Oh no, not that. Go away, go away, go away. Try here. Yes. No. Oh, now it's gone. Okay. Venus is now direct after her 40 days and 40 nights in retrograde. Isn't there a song about that as well? Is that wasted days and wasted nights? Does that relate to the 40 days? I think that's a don't know, Beatles song maybe. 40/40 double 20/20 and a 2-week post shadow. So all Libra and Taurus will start having relief. Yay. I swear that's been connected with this lower back pressure. Yes, I'm sure. Perfect balance time. Lovely to reconnect New Zealand and Maui into the same time and space through this platform. Yeah, sending you lots of love. Definitely, we were sending lots of energy through from Vanuatu through to Hawaii. Venus is any Friday. Ah, okay. Every Friday is Venus energy. Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you. Caroline's. I started to heal my inner DM today. I always heal on the left side, but today it was the right side. That hasn't happened before today. Yay! Perfect. Thank you. Yes, I was talking about Venus from what I got from Gaia. Yes, that's correct. All right. So we are in really exciting times. We're in our new energies, and Andrea's been working with Rick and Femke. So they're in Romania at the moment. They are bringing they are energetically realigning a lot of the pyramidic. That's a word. The pyramidic structures in Romania. They're reactivating them. And 3 p.m. is a very strong time to come in with the DM. Okay. Thank you, Charlotte. Okay. Sunday sun, Monday moon. Oh, yeah, I should have been able to figure that out. Thank you. Tuesday Mercury, Wednesday Mars, Thursday Jupiter, Venus, Friday. Every Friday 3 p.m. Venus is a powerful time to connect in with your DM. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, days of the week. Thanks for making the time. You're welcome, Andrea. So thank you. Thank you for joining me here and holding space with me for what seems to be remarkable, momentous, and significant as we're really landing in our new energies here. The realignment of the ley lines or the dragon lines, the song lines, the walk lines. They're called different things in different cultures. And lots of love. You're welcome, Anna. And hello, Sally. So thank you, everyone. Mwah. Catch you soon.